Season 3 was a good season, but it never quite reached the highs of the other seasons. Don't get me wrong, the Steve and Dustin chemistry was amazing, but I also really missed seeing all four of the boys together doing their thing. I'm also not a fan of the Russian plotline or Billy's storyline in this season. They add a lot more 80s references in this, and this season introduced the character Robin, and both of those things are good. I don't love the character Robin like most people do, however, she is good, although there's something about this season that just felt too silly and didn't have the same stakes as the others, even though it did. It started out strong, but then kind of dropped the ball in the last half. The finale was really disappointing to me, and the fake-out death of you-know-who, I don't want to spoil, was just obnoxious. The ending of this season when Eleven reads the letter was emotional, but it's pretty useless now that we have Season 4. Also, can someone explain the love for Alexei to me? He was just a basic character that I was never attached to at all. Good season, but easily my least favorite as of now. In third place is Season 2. To get this out of the way, Episode 7 sucked and is easily the worst episode of the whole show, and that will never change despite whatever the quality of Season 5 will be. Nonetheless, 8 and 9 were phenomenal, Episode 8 being the epitome of the entire series in my opinion. The Halloween atmosphere accompanies the show's tone superbly and makes it probably the most rewatchable season. Max is incredible and one of the greatest characters in the whole show, so I'm so glad that she was introduced here. The romance between Bob and Joyce is so cheerful and is depicted with an immense amount of joy. Sean Astin does a great job playing a pleasant character that you can't dislike. It breaks my heart to have this season so low because it is really great, but this is such a great show that 2 seasons top it for me. My runner-up is Season 4. I really love how this season shows the struggles of life for not just Eleven, but all of the characters. It almost makes it seem more authentic and genuine than the other seasons. You can clearly tell that these actors are growing both by their appearance and the script. The show got darker in this season and a lot more mature, which I appreciate. It can be slightly excessive in length, but I guess it needed to be this long to flesh out the characters it needed to, and let us fall in love with the new characters. Speaking of new characters, Argyle and Eddie were great additions. Eddie has become one of my all-time favorite characters of this show, and his arc was perfect. It was extremely substandard what they did with the characters Mike and Jonathan. They used to be some of the best characters in the show, and now I feel like the writers just don't care anymore. I do love how that lets Max, Steve, and Dustin have their time in the spotlight, but I wish Mike and Jonathan had a good plotline too. I wasn't quite on board with what they were doing with Eleven at first, but once her storyline picked up, it was really tense and intriguing, and made the last 2 episodes seem more personal to her. Stranger Things 4 was the most gory, exciting, and wild season, and more epic in scale than ever before. But in first place is Season 1. I actually watched this season for the first time recently in May, and it more than lived up to the hype. Not gonna lie, the first 4 episodes weren't amazing, but the last 4, my goodness, I absolutely loved. It was way more emotional and captivating than I ever thought it would be, and made me practically binge Season 2 and 3. The Duffer Brothers' meticulous world building pays off, and none of that would work without good characters, and thankfully, Stranger Things has those in abundance. All of the pleasures of amazing mystery solving are nothing compared to the pleasures of bathing in the ambience of the 1980s. The nostalgia is palpable, but then so are the horror characteristics, which are multi-layered, pulling at a number of primal fears, but still making it lighthearted enough to feel fun. Just everything works with all these amazing characters and actors, and makes this possibly my favorite season of television of all time.